This one is just audio. I'm hoping the lyrics will be here. If not, I'm gonna check them out, most likely. But this is called Mansion, so we might have to listen closely.
Insidious as blind inception.
You getting
What's
that?
reality with all these questions? Feels like I missed my alarm and slept in.
You know what I want to do? I can actually do this because it's English. So let's pull up our old friend genius.com and we'll see if we can follow along so we're not doing it twice. Genius, I hate you. I hate you. What a garbage website. All right, let's do it.
Broken legs, but I chase perfection. These walls are my blank expression. My mind is a home I'm trapped in, and it's lonely inside this mansion.
Yo, my mind is a house with walls, covered in lyrics, they're all over the place. The songs in the mirrors, written all over the floors, all over the chairs. And you get the uncut version of life when I go downstairs. That's where I write when I'm in a bad place and need to release, and let out the version of NF you don't want to see. I put holes in the walls with both of my fists till they bleed, and you might get a glimpse of how I cope with all this anger in me. Physically abused, now that's the room that I don't want to be in. That picture ain't blurry at all, I just don't want to see it. And these walls ain't blank, I just think I don't want to see them. But why not? I'm in here, so I might as well read them. I gotta thank you for this anger that I carry around. Wish I could take a match and burn this whole room to the ground. Matter of fact, I think I'ma burn this room right now. Somehow this memory for some reason just won't go down. You used to put me in the corner so you could see the fear in my eyes, then took me downstairs and beat me till I screamed and I cried. Congratulations, you'll always have a room in my mind, but I'ma keep the door shut and lock the lyrics inside.
Insidious as blind inception. What's reality with all these questions? Feels like I missed my alarm and slept in. Broken legs, but I chase perfection. These walls are my blank expression. My mind is a home I'm trapped in, and it's lonely inside this mansion. Inside this mansion.
Yo, my mind is a house with walls, covered in pain. See, my problem is I don't fix things, I just try to repaint. Cover them up like it never happened. Say I wish I could change. Are you confused? Come upstairs and I'll show you what I mean. This room's full of regrets, just keeps getting fuller it seems. Moment I walk into it's the same moment that I wanna leave. I get sick to my stomach every time I look at these things, but it's hard to look past when this is the room where I sleep. I look around, one of the worst things I wrote on these walls was the moment I realized that I was losing my mom. And one of the first things I wrote was I wish I would've called, but I should just stop now, we ain't got enough room in this song. And I regret the fact that I struggle trying to find who I am, and I lie to myself and say I do the best that I can. Shrug it off like it ain't nothing, like it's out of my hand, and get ticked off whenever I see it affecting my plans. And I regret watching these trust issues eat me alive, and at the rate I'm going, I'll probably still be there when I die. Congratulations, you'll always have a room in my mind. The question is, will I ever clean the walls off in time? Oof.
Insidious as blind inception. What's reality with all these questions? Feels like I missed my alarm and slept in. Broken legs, but I chase perfection. These walls are my blank expression. My mind is a home I'm trapped in, and it's lonely inside this mansion. Inside this mansion.
So this part of my house, no one's been in it for years. I built the safe room and I don't let no one in there, cause if I do, there's a chance that they might disappear and not come back. And I admit, I am emotionally scared to let anyone inside, so I just leave my doors locked. You might get other doors to open up, but this door's not, cause I don't want you to have the opportunity to hurt me, and I'll be the only person that I can blame when you desert me. I'm barricaded inside, so stop watching. I'm not coming to the door, so stop knocking. Stop knocking. I'm trapped here. God keeps saying I'm not locked. I chose this. I am lost in my own conscience. I know they're shutting the world out verse years ago. I let him in. Maybe that's a problem, cause I've been dealing with this ever since. I thought that he would leave, but it's obvious he never did. He must have picked a room and got comfortable and settled in. Now I'm in a position that's either sit here and let him win, or put him back outside where it came from, but I never can. Cause in order to do that, I'd have to open the doors. Is that me or the fear talking? I don't know anymore.
Damn, that was redonkulous. I'm kind of bummed there's not a video for this. I'm kind of torn, to be honest. Like, on one hand, I wish there was a video, but on the other hand, it's kind of like a book. If there's no movie and you're forced to read the book, gross. You're forced to use your imagination, and the book is always going to be better than the movie because your imagination fills in all the gaps. So, like, I have a vision for this that you probably also have a vision for this that might have been different from what he would have laid out, but it's his story and it's pretty specific. So, I don't know, I guess it kind of works both ways, but I think this video could have been kind of gut-wrenching. The lyrics in the song itself, the way he presents this is already an absolute grand slam, and I don't know how much different a video would have made it, but I did feel like there was potentially, I don't know, a chance for a cathartic moment. When he said early on, something about go upstairs. Here we go. My mind is a house with walls covered in pain. See, my problem is I don't fix things. I just try to repaint, cover them up like it never happened, say, oh, I wish I could change. Are you confused? Come upstairs and I'll show you what I mean. This room is full of regrets. It just keeps getting fuller, it seems. The moment I walk into, it's the same moment that I want to leave. I get sick to my stomach every time I look at these things. But it's hard to look past when this is the room where I sleep. I look around. One of the worst things I wrote on these walls was the moment I realized that I was losing my mom. One of the first things I wrote was, I wish I would have called. Jeez. So I feel like, especially when he's so specific and he says, come upstairs and I'll show you what I mean. That moves us metaphorically, but also kind of emotionally from where we are. It's almost like, you know, if like you can almost kind of picture if somebody says, hey, come upstairs, it implies that you're a guest. Okay. Obviously you're a guest, but you're also still kind of in the front door area, or you're still kind of on the ground floor. There's more that needs to be experienced, right? So just the simple line of come upstairs, that is him inviting you deeper into the house. And yeah, and it's more private. Exactly. So that's like a huge deal. But when he says, come upstairs, I'll show you what I mean. So now he's inviting us to go deeper. And then when he says, this room is full of regrets, he doesn't say these rooms, he says this room. And when he goes on to say, like, this is the room where I sleep, you can almost kind of envision this really dingy, dark, kind of scary room that he probably grew up in, whether that is metaphorical, whether it's literal, emotional, and so on. Yeah, that is a good point. And that's why I'm torn. With this kind of song, it really needs to be death of the author so we can feel it through our own struggles. Yeah. And even though that's the case, though, I will say the moment that I saw that could have maybe been kind of cathartic is, let's say that he is talking about a specific room, which I do think he is. I would have loved to see this play out for real in the house that he grew up in. Now, I think this might have been completely devastating for him. Maybe it was too hard to do, not even considered. I have no idea. But to actually go through the beginning of the song as if it's our POV as a person being let into the house, and he goes through the first piece kind of at the door. And then when he says, come upstairs, I'll show you what I mean. And he turns around and it's like we get this vignette of, you can instantly feel the weight of the house. When we're at the door, it's kind of bright. You might get a little sun ray onto him through the doorway. But once we go in and we know that door shuts behind us, we get that kind of tunnel vision. And we watch him walk up the stairs and we're with him. When he enters that room, I would have almost liked to see this escalation of, as he's explaining things, he begins to destroy that room. And maybe some flashes back and forth where you're not quite sure, is it really happening? Is it in his brain? Is it something he did in the past? I don't know. In some ways, I feel like that maybe that could have been cathartic for him. It could have also destroyed him. I don't know. Man, his storytelling is phenomenal. Yeah, the man, and I think that's a parallel. I could be wrong, but yeah, mainly metaphorical in terms of the brain being the mansion. Yeah, I do agree, but I do think, in my opinion, I think it's a parallel. I think where the physical room that he's describing potentially is the dingy, dilapidated room that is a room of fear and abuse and terror. And the mansion is here because he's safe here. Or at least he was, until he says he let fear in and now he's not sure who he's listening to, or however he said it. Here we go. But it's not. I'm not the only thing that's living in here. Fear came to my house years ago. I let him in. Maybe that's the problem, because I've been dealing with this ever since. I thought that he would leave, but it's obvious he never did. He must have picked a room and got comfortable and settled in. Now I'm in a position. It's either sit here and let him win or put him back outside where he came from. But I never can. Because in order to do that, I'd have to open the doors. Is that me or the fear talking? I don't know anymore. That is incredible. It's almost like he's articulating that fear is the devil he knows. If he opens the door in an attempt to remove this fear, there's no telling what could come back through that door. So he's almost embracing the idea that at least this is something I understand. This is something that I can deal with. I've dealt with it for this long, but I'm afraid if I risk this and metaphorically open this door, is it going to get worse? And then am I going to regret this position that I'm in now? Because I'm standing at the crossroads and it can either get better or it can get worse. But right now where I am, I know I can handle it right now. I mean, that's a hell of a projection, but I don't know. That's just kind of what I feel. It is sad. It is sad. What I thought was so interesting, like, I don't even remember where it was. There was something about thank you for the anger you've given me. Yeah, here we go. punching the walls till his hands bleed. I feel like we all been there at some point. You get the uncut version of life. When I go downstairs, that's where I write when I'm in a bad place and need to release. You might get a glimpse of how I cope with all this anger in me. I got to thank you for this anger that I carry around. Wow, that line is striking. Yeah. And that in and of itself feels like its own crossroad, you know? The fork in the path where some people, that anger would ruin them. That experience would ruin them. And some people find a way to create that as a fuel and drive them for better. Yeah. Wow. Whoo, man. Tell you what, for not having a video, that was something. This boy is talented. Jeez. Man. For an audio only song. So from the album is called Mansion. Okay. I did love the contrast of, I hope I'm saying it right, Fleurie's voice with the sharpness and the harsh texture of his pain. I'm not going to say his voice, but his pain. There is a beauty that enters the song almost like a reprieve for us as the viewer and the listener. There's a contrast there. And that in and of itself, which this is kind of why I don't want to know what the title is of things sometimes, because now it feels like I'm getting confirmation, and whether that's a bias or not, that to me, her voice represents hope. He's expressing all this anger, all this pain, but yet still there are these little flashes throughout the song of hope. And that's what her voice represents to me. I would like to think that I still would have said that, even if I didn't know that this thing is called A Journey to Hope. Because I do think part of what we saw in The Search and Leave Me Alone, I think is what it was called, was these references to hope. And that's where a lot of the comments came from and said, yeah, I think you're really nailing it, because part of his thing is hope, and it's this and it's that and whatever, you know, there's kind of confirmation, but I think that's interesting.